there, beauties. Welcome back to my channel, A Fit Life Center, where I teach you small coping strategies to help you either begin, maintain, or continue a life that's fit for you. And you know by now, a life fit for you is unique to you. You have to take a journey of discovery to figure out what do you need to either let go of or add to your life or change in your life so that your life begins to be a manifestation of who you are rather than you always feeling like you are chasing behind something or always trying to be something or do something that's really not in alignment with you. So, why do I think I know what I'm talking about? Because my name is Sharon and I am a licensed clinical social worker. I've been working for years to help people learn how to manage anxiety, depression. I specialized in trauma work for years, and I'm now including wellness because I think it's important that we learn how to be well, how to maintain wellness, and how to make sure our life is working for us rather than us always working for something else, because it just doesn't work the other way, right? It makes us feel overwhelmed, stressed out, depressed sometimes. So, today I thought that I would start the year with teaching you a little something, something, if that's all right. I want to teach you about something called psychological flexibility. So, what is psychological flexibility? It is the extent of which a person can cope with changes in circumstances or think about problems in a creative way. You'll see me glancing over because I wrote myself some notes so that I could stay on track. Um, Psychological flexibility is important when we think about changes that happen in life, managing stress or unexpected events that happen, right? Psychological flexibility requires a person to change maybe your outlook, right? Because maybe something has changed, right? And you need to change your outlook on it because it will help you to be able to manage the stress or get through the situation a little bit easier. Or your commitment. You may be committed to something that's not working for you anymore. And sometimes you have to reevaluate what you are committed to, right? A lot of us on this channel also follow Stephanie Perry, who talks about Black women taking rest, right? When you look at our lives, a lot of times we are committed to other things, work, our children, our families, but we are not committed to ourselves. So we have to have some psychological flexibility and looking at the benefit of staying committed to those things if it's no longer working for us. Or maybe your children are grown and they don't need your constant attention all the time. Things like that. It's also defined as being present in the moment, right? And you all know that I am also a certified yoga instructor, which is why I like this, right? Being present in the moment and noticing what's happening in any given moment helps you to be able to decide what you need to do in that moment. Sometimes you don't need to do anything, right? The moment is just a moment and it passes. Sometimes you need to make these changes. Psychological flexibility helps you to evaluate, be present to, and make any changes that you need to make. So I thought I would go through some skills. So because I am a therapist, I get a magazine called Psychology Today, right? And I always like to look through the articles to see if there's anything in here um, that might be helpful. So, a Dr. Stephen C. Hayes wrote an article in here. He was really talking about why therapy might be helpful, right? Because therapy might help you learn how to be psychologically flexible. So, I thought I would share with you some skills that he recommended and I agree with, right? I teach people these skills every day to help them learn this idea of psychological flexibility because it's hard to make changes until you develop some awareness and some ability to change either your mind about a situation or the things that you're doing, right? All right. So the first skill that you would need for psychological flexibility is awareness. Noticing what's happening in your present moment, right? What are you thinking? What are you feeling? What do you sense in your body? Some people who are spiritual people may even find a spiritual connection to their awareness, right? I'm a big, probably spiritual person, and I'm always kind of checking in with God, the universe, divinity, to see where am I? Do I feel off track? Do I feel in alignment with that? Those kinds of things. So I want you to notice it's a big difference between talking about this, right, and actually experiencing awareness. In the article, they related it to food, which y'all who know me know food is one of my favorite things, right? Okay, so the difference between awareness and just talking about something is the difference between experiencing your favorite meal and just talking about it, right? I love me some turnip greens, right? I love turnip greens. So I can talk to you all day about that little bitterness, especially if you mix them with some mustard greens, that little bitterness that you get in there, and that little smokiness that you get in there if you put a little smoked turkey meat in there, which I tend to like, right? I can talk to you about that. But if I'm talking about my awareness when I am actually in the moment eating them, what does the taste of the greens, when it hits my tongue, what does it smell like when they're cooking in my kitchen, right? What does the feeling of joy that comes over me when I know I'm about to eat it? That's about to eat those greens. That's what experiencing in the moment is. Awareness is experiencing in the moment what's happening to you, what you're noticing, whether it's your thoughts, your emotions, or bodily sensations. The next skill you need is to be open, to allow yourself to feel and process whatever you notice. And that could be painful or difficult emotions, right? Because we are complex human beings. We're not always experienced, being up there on the mountain. Sometimes what we notice are difficulties, right? Talk about a life fit for you. Sometimes when you become aware of what's happening in your life, the first thing you notice is there are areas in your life that may not be in alignment with who you are now. And you might notice difficult thoughts connected to that, feelings, difficult bodily sensations, right? If you're feeling stress, you might notice your chest is tightening, right? You might feel the urge to cry. You might feel a little shaky. It's allowing that to happen without trying to change it in any way, without trying to problem solve it at that moment. Awareness is just noticing without trying to change it in any way. Most people try to get rid of their emotions. They don't like them. They don't like what they're feeling. They don't like what they're thinking. And I thought I would do a little exercise to help you notice that that is really not possible. So, what I want you to do right now, and if you're game, is I just want you in your mind's eye. If it helps you to visualize stuff, you can either close your eyes or you don't have to if you want to. But in your mind's eye, I want you to visualize an elephant. I want you to see the size and the shape of that elephant. I want you to notice the length and the width of their tusk and tail, the texture of the skin, the eyes of the elephant. Allow yourself as best you can to fully visualize that elephant. Just take a moment and now stop seeing it. Doesn't work, right? It didn't even work for me. I can still see it in my own eyes. That's what it's like when you try to get rid of the feelings, the thoughts that you're having by pushing them away. They don't really go anywhere. But when you allow yourself to be aware of it, to process through it, then you start to see some reduction. You start to get this psychological flexibility where if you notice that you need to make some changes, you can make some changes. Or if you notice you don't need to make any changes and it just passes. All right, what's the third skill? The third skill is valued engaging. Valued engagement. That means knowing what matters to you and taking steps in that direction. Acknowledging your own objectives and values for yourself. Personal values, things that matter to you, right? Kindness, compassion, those are values I have for my life. It's making myself a priority in my life. That's my objective this year, right? So you can start to take those steps in order to start to make sure that you reach your objective. I'm going to put my SMART goals video. I'm going to link it up in this corner up here. So that's the next step after this, right? This is how you begin the process of setting those SMART goals. But that's what you have to do. You have to take time to become aware of what your objectives are, what your own personal values are, so that you can start to be guided by those objectives and values and not just attached to an outcome. Because things change, right? Life changes. If you just become attached to the outcome and you don't necessarily get what you thought you were supposed to get immediately, you can become discouraged. But if you know your own values, your own objectives, you will continue to align with those objectives and values despite the outcome. So, those three skills are what you need for psychological flexibility: awareness, right? Openness, and valued engagement. I hope this was helpful for you, right? And I should just one more time define psychological because I always like to end with you knowing what we're talking about here. Psychological flexibility is the extent in which a person can cope with changes in circumstances or approach problems from a creative way. It can be used when you have stressors or unexpected events. It requires a person to change their outlook or their commitment if what they're committing to is not working for them. That's it. That's my little lesson for you today. I hope it was helpful. You can find more of these things on my YouTube channel because I'm always trying to give you little tidbits that's going to make your life fit for you. And you can check me out on my website, fitlifecenter.com, if you would like any of the services I offer there. And please like, subscribe, comment on this channel because I like interacting with you, and those who have commented know I always comment back, right? Because I want this to be a community for us. And if you think this is helpful, please share this channel with other people because we're trying to grow it. As a matter of fact, we are growing, right? We've gotten some new subscribers. So thank you, new subscribers. Please interact with me because I want to interact with you. I hope you have a wonderful day. And more importantly, I hope you have a life that's fit for you.